What's up YouTube? Georgia Silver Hunter back, and today we'll be going through $100 worth of customer wrapped nickels that I picked up from one of my local Wells Fargos. I picked these up at the same time that I got all those dimes, and we were lucky and found just a little bit of silver in those. So if you haven't watched that video, make sure you go back and give that a watch and leave me a like and a comment. And I tell you what, we're going to be jumping into these dimes looking for anything 1959 and earlier. Our Buffalo nickels, V nickels, and paying special attention, looking out for those silver, 35% silver war nickels. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into these rolls. All right, we're going to go ahead and get into 2 or 3 of these first rolls and just go through them really quickly to see if we find anything interesting. And of course, we will be using the Strike It Rich with Pocket Change book to help identify any of the rare mint errors or varieties that are out there. I guess I should get to the Jefferson nickels. This book covers pretty much from 1938. Yeah, I think 1938, all the way up to whenever the book was published, which I think is like 2019 or so. So if you want a really good resource that calls out what you should be looking for with some estimated values and really good pictures, I highly recommend the Strike It Rich with Pocket Change book. I do have my Amazon affiliate link linked in the description down below, so make sure you check that out if you're interested. Other than that, I do have a document in the description down below this video that is free, that has a lot of the things that are in the Strike It Rich book, but it does not include pictures. So if you're just looking for a nice search list, that document will get you started. So I already have one that looks a little interesting. We'll take a closer look at that here in a second. I like to look at the edges of nickels because you can tell a lot from just looking at that edge. A lot of the age will show just in the color and the wear on there. And again, I'm not going to look at every one here on camera. I'm just going to kind of go through them really quickly, and then I'll go off camera and hunt them coin by coin. And as I said in the intro, we are looking for anything 1959 and earlier. And I might have missed something, because I just did that really quickly to see if we could find anything interesting that would jump right out at us. I will, of course, bring you in for the majority of our finds, because nickels are, I think, a lot of fun, and they're actually pretty cheap to look through. So if you're looking for a denomination to get started with, I do recommend nickels, because you can't really get quarters or pennies anymore, or it makes it hard. Well, we got our first find in 1959. Can't tell. Let me look here real quick. Do we have a mint mark? We do have a Denver mint mark. So our first keeper of the hunt. Nothing too special, but it is something I'll hang on to. And I do basically keep rolls of these. Most of my rolls are not completely full yet, and I've been putting Phillies and Denvers in there. And once I get enough, I actually split that out and do a separate Philly roll and then a Denver roll. There's some 63s in here that I'll be checking. There's a TDO, I think, and a DDO. A TDO would be a triple die obverse. There's a couple of 63s in there. I'll go back and check those under the microscope. Let's see here. Would love to find something really interesting early on. Have anything by the edges? Nothing jumping out. Lots of 64s. We'll be scoping for the repunched mint mark. This piece metal, we'll look at that under the scope as well, and I'll bring in, there's a double die obverse on that one. Okay, oh, I almost missed it. Look right there. I totally missed it. I was going too fast. We actually have a Buffalo nickel in here. I literally went right by it. We have a mint mark on the back. Can't tell what it is. Probably a Denver. And we do have a date. We have a full date, 1935, on the front. So that's what happens when you go too fast. So this I get excited about, especially when you have a full date. And I do have a mint mark. It is actually a 1935. It looks like a San Francisco. I'll put a picture of that up on the screen for you so you can see it a little bit closer. But very cool for the first 3 rolls. And it gives me some hope for the rest of them. So I'm going to go off camera. I'll bring you in as we find things. We've got into roll number 4, and we have some miscolored ones. I gave those a quick look. They don't look like they're war nickels, but I did see down here towards the middle, we got at least a funky looking little coin there. It looks like it could be Canadian or something else, and I didn't mention this earlier, but we've got our new Walker magnet screwdriver, and we've got a magnet there on the end. Let's check to see if it's something that is foreign. And it is. We've got ourselves a 5-cent piece from the Bahamas, 2016. So we're on that same roll, roll number 4, and pretty close to halfway through. We had another foreign in there that didn't appear to be magnetic. We've got ourselves Queen Elizabeth II here, and it is a Canadian nickel from 1998. We're getting through roll number 9, and we're probably a little more than halfway through, and we've come across a 1942. Now, 42 is one of the war nickel years, and we'll be looking for a mint mark above the Monticello building. Let's see if we got silver or just one of the regular plain old 42 nickels. And we've actually got a Denver. You can see from the mint mark over there, if this were silver, we'd have a giant D right above, like I said, the Monticello building. So unfortunately, nothing special here, but it is a 42. We will hang on to it. So, getting through that last roll there in the first grouping, roll number 10, and we've come across our next find. We've got ourselves a 1954. It looks like we've got a Denver, and we got a little bit of damage there on the rim, but I think the Denver's got like an over mint mark or a repunched mint mark. Let's take a look and see if that mint mark looks funky. Yeah, I'm going to have to look at this one under the loop. It looks like we've got, I don't know if that's just some damage in there. It's tough to see completely under the microscope. I'm going to put this under the loop, and if it looks like it's anything under the loop, I'll bring you back in. Otherwise, we're just going to call this a 1954 Denver. So we're getting into rolls 11, 12, and 13, and we've got a double here in roll number 11. We've got a super ugly 1958. Looks like it was probably a ground target. Looks like it's a Denver. And right behind it, it just so happened to be another find, a 1954. This time a Denver again, and I again think we might have a possibility of an over mint mark or something. And it looks like we got a lot of maybe grease in the die, but I don't think we've got a repunched mint mark there. I'll give that another look again under the loop. And I know it seems weird to say that, you know, the loop helps, but it really does because it changes the lighting, and it's a little bit, just looks a little bit different under the loop. So I'll give that one another look. And I think I did see a couple other 40s and 50s in there, so I'm sure I'll bring in at least one or two more times here in the next couple of rolls. So we're getting into rolls 14, 15, 16, and on those last three I did come across another 1954, but I'm bringing you in here because we've got one of those very low mintage 2009 Denvers. I'll throw the mintage of this up on the screen, and for being a modern nickel, it is exceptionally low, and it's actually really hard to find a 2009 nickel in really, really good shape. This one's had a pretty rough life here, but I hang on to every one that I find. Roll number 15, and we've got another 1942 situation. We definitely want to get that mint mark above the Monticello building. And alas, we have another Denver. Let's check that out. Check the mint mark out here. I got to zoom out a little bit. I'm in a little too close. And it's just a funky looking mint mark. And I can't remember if 42 is one of my Hennig nickel years. It is not. 39, 44, 46, and 47. That guy looks a little bit old too. Let's see what we got here. A 1946. Now this one could be a Hennig nickel. Looking for a loop in the bottom of the R. We're looking for a die crack. And the last thing we would look for is the weight. 1946, we're looking for something over like 5.2 grams. And we're at 4.9. So I think we've got just a regular 1946. And we've got a 1942 Denver. We're at roll number 18, and we've come across a 1957. This one actually came up reverse facing, so I already knew we had a Denver there, but another find on the hunt. All right, getting into roll, I think 23, if I haven't lost count here. We've come across our next find, which is a 1953. Looks like a Philly, and 53 is one of our Henning years. Typically, as I said earlier, we're looking for like a little extra loop in the bottom or the base of that R, or a big die crack through or up kind of above the Monticello building. And I don't see either one of those. The last thing I'll check out is the weight, just to be sure. But all signs right now, including that one, are pointing to us just having a regular 1953 Philly. So I have rolls 34 and 35 out. Bringing here on roll number 34, we've got ourselves a 1941. Looks like it is a Philly, and I didn't bring you in earlier in the video. I don't remember if I mentioned this one or not, but we found a 1941 very early on, but it's an ugly, crispy one, so I just didn't film it. But that's our second 1941 on the hunt. So we're getting to roll number 36. I got it laid out here, and it kind of jumped out at me here on the end. We've got a kind of greeny looking 1940, a little tarnish on it. Let's see, we've got a 1940 Philly. I think it's the oldest Jefferson of the hunt, obviously not beating our 1935 Buffalo. We'll drop them in right there. Got rolls 37, 38, 39, and 40 out. Bringing you in on roll 37. And we got ourselves a 1947, which is going to be a keeper and not bad shape. It looks like it is a 47S as well. And I know the 47 Philly, I can't remember if all the mint marks are possible Henning nickels, but just checking that R, I don't see the loop. And I also don't see that die crack. So 47S will go up as a find somewhere up here. I'll just throw it up, next to the 46. I don't really have room, but we're going to keep on hunting. So I'm bringing you in for rolls 49 and 50, and we got almost all the way through roll number 49, and we have a interesting coin here. It actually came up reverse facing, so I already know what it is. When I flipped it over, I was a little surprised to see it. We got ourselves a 1949 San Francisco, and the 1949 San Francisco is a semi-key date, which means it's a low mintage year. I've already pulled out my red book just to make sure we'd have the mintages handy, but just to show you guys, like most nickels back in the 40s were at 37, 50 million, 160 million, kind of all over the place. But when you get up here to 1949S, we are just under 10 million, along with that other semi-key date 1950, and then of course the 50D is a full key date at 2.6 million. So very, very cool. In low grades, it's not worth a ton of money, but still a really cool find. So that's going to get us to the end of the nickel hunt, and it turned out to be a pretty good one. We did have a lot of finds from 1940 all the way up through 1959. Now, I didn't bring you in for every single one of them, but really quickly, a couple of 41s. And I think I have my 42s in the wrong spot here. There's a 42 there. That was a 42. Let me see here. What do we have? That is a 46. Those are 46s. So I got excited about my 42s because those could have been Silver War nickels, but unfortunately, they both were just the nickel variety. We had a couple of 46s, a 47, a couple of 52s, 53s, 354s, 357s, 258s, and a 1959. And it looks like we did have a ground target there. We did get a couple of foreigns, one from the Commonwealth of the Bahamas and a 1998 from Canada. We did get misstuffed. I didn't bring in for this, but we got a 2023 Philly dime out of the hunt, so that's pretty cool. Basically 2 nickels there. We did also get 6 2024 Phillies, and the 2024s are still selling decently well, so I'm still making rolls of these as I find them, and if I can find a recent comp, I'll go ahead and throw it up on screen. But the 3 real big nickels of the hunt, I'll start down here. The 2009 Denver low mintage. Now, this one's in pretty rotten condition, so I'm just going to throw that in a tube. No real value there. But this 1949S is a semi-key date, and I'm always happy to have one of these. This will be something I'll just throw in a flip because it is super low mintage. And, of course, very stunned to get this 1935 San Francisco, because you just don't see a lot of those. And what I'm most excited about, it's been a while since I've been able to actually plug a nickel into this little nickel folder. You can see I've still got a fair number of holes all the way back to the beginning. In the more, I guess I would say, normal years, 1919 through 1928. We have a few less holes. But when we get over here to the 28 through 1938, we've got lots and lots of holes, and one I do need to fill here is that 1935S. So we will be plugging him in right there. I'll go ahead and do that off camera, but always excited to fill a spot in the album. So with that, I hope you guys did enjoy this hunt. I know I did too. Nickels are always a lot of fun. Even if you're not finding silver, there's just so much to look for and hang on to. So if you did enjoy this one, drop on down below. Let me know in the comments. And while you're down there, make sure you click on that like button. If you're new to the channel and you like coin roll hunts, make sure you check out this nickel hunt, my nickel hunts from the very beginning. I think almost every single hunt where I've plugged something in an album, I've got a nickel playlist, and I'll post that at the end of the video. But make sure you do that. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you click on that subscribe button, then click on that little bell and select all so you get notified each and every time I release a new video. I'd really appreciate it. Special shout out to my channel members. Thank you guys for supporting the channel each and every month. I really appreciate it. And with that, I hope you guys are all doing well. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.